So let's jump on the reason why you're here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So give me a little bit about your background and what we got going on that is agitating you when you see this and there's something needs to be, we got to shed light on this topic. So enlighten me on what you're talking about here.
So I guess we'll see. So again, born and raised in Texas. I have 3 daughters. I have one that she's 28, will be 29 in May. And then I wasn't supposed to have any more children. I had a ton of female problems, miscarriages. And then just as I gave up, then God's got a sense of humor and gave me 2 more. So I had a 13-year-old daughter, and then I had one in 2010, and she's 15 now. And then 3 years later, I had my youngest who has Down syndrome.
Okay.
So my 15-year-old, my oldest doesn't have any issues. She's got bad attitude, but she don't have any issues.
She get it from her mama?
No, I have a sugar bear attitude. I'm a sugar bear. You get that, don't you?
I get it.
She's still in Austin. And then my middle one, can I say her name on here? Or am I not supposed to? Okay. Well, my Maggie Shay. So I have all M's, but my Maggie Shay, terrible pregnancy. And I say that every pregnancy dictates the child.
Mhm.
That one has been trouble since the womb. Placenta previa. She was a month early. I kept telling that doctor, I was like, she wants out. And he's like, oh, you got one more month. Well, guess who came early? And had trouble breathing, laboring to breathe. We spent a month in the NICU. We had been there 2 weeks, and they were like, oh, well, you're good. She can go home. And then she started doing bradycardias and coding, and all the bells and whistles were going off. Well, and come to find out she had reflux, which happens a lot with preemies because that little top of your esophagus hasn't developed. So they don't know how to eat and breathe at the same time. So 2 more weeks in the NICU, so total month. Came home on a heart monitor. We were on that for 6 months. And anyway, she became very healthy and all the things. She was little, but she became really healthy. And then, like I said, 3 years later, I had her younger sister, McCall, who has Down syndrome. So I thought I only had one that had special education and special needs. But then as time has gone on with Maggie, you would think the one that has Down syndrome would be the toughest one. And she's the gift from God. I call her my sunshine. She didn't have anything but an extra chromosome and fabulous. There ain't nothing wrong with her.
Okay.
She's the sweetest child.
Wow.
She doesn't have traditional issues like a Down syndrome does. No thyroid, no walking, talking, eating, swallowing, eyes. I mean, she has glasses, but her vision's getting better. Easiest kid. And the best disposition, just sugar bear, sunshine. Well, then as time has progressed, Maggie Shay is the one that I've had issues with. She's probably about 4 or 5, and they were like, oh, she's ADHD. And, or they dance around it in the school system because they can't legally come out and say, hey, she's ADHD, go throw her on some meds. So they dance around it. She's, what's one of the words they use? Impulsive. Anyway, so I go to my doctor. Years go by, we try every ADHD medicine, nothing works. Then I take her for all these educational evaluations, psychological, mental, all the things outside of the school, because I don't trust the school system. No offense, because I love my teachers, but I wanted second and third opinions.
Makes sense.
So then I had one lady that I spent, and they're $2,500. Like if you do an educational evaluation, that's $2,500 right there. And they're the alpha and the omega, and they think that, their opinion. Yes, sir. There is no insurance. No, insurance don't cover that. That's out of pocket. Cut a check.
Dang.
So I went to one lady, and again, this is all in Dallas, Fort Worth, and in Texas. I went to one lady the school is called, God, what's the name of that school? So dyslexia years ago, June Shelton. June Shelton is the one that discovered that kids, when they were younger, like my age, that dyslexia was a thing. Well, then she came up with every program in the country for people that suffer from dyslexia and how to teach them. Then she started this school that looks like Harvard. So she was one of the top educational specialists. I took her in there, and this lady literally looked at 2 pieces of paper, spent 15 minutes with Maggie Shea, and it's like, she has a low IQ. She's mentally retarded. This is what normal IQ is, and this is where Maggie's at. And I'm like, you spent 15 minutes with Maggie. You didn't run a test.
Right.
You didn't do any of that. And she's mentally retarded. There you go. Thanks for coming. And so I told her, one day when I figure out what is wrong with Maggie Shea, I'll be back for you, and I will be back for her.
Was that the evaluation you paid the $2,500?
Yes, sir.
For? I would have got a refund.
In and out,
Damn.
in and out. And she gave me this
Yeah.
huge, ginormous report and was like, I know this is hard. I'm like, you don't know nothing about my life. I've got 3 daughters, one with Down syndrome. This ain't my first rodeo.
Yeah.
So I was angry about that one. But anyway, I've gone to, psychiatrists and psychologists and every medical, genetic testing, everything. Well, then in 2022, we finally discovered that Maggie Shea has epilepsy. So she has what's called absence seizures. So you can't see her seizures unless she's hooked up to an EKG. And they're called petit mal seizures. So grand mal seizures are the ones where you see people and you can actually see them seizing. So I go to Cooks in Fort Worth, and the doctor there said I would be willing to bet that 99% of Maggie Shea's issues stem from this epilepsy. So, medication, whatever. And that, like I said, from the time I did that first evaluation at like 4 or 5 years old up until 2022, I had run every test imaginable. Every test.
Wow.
People tell me she had low IQ, and I'm like, this child can pick a doorknob with a corn on the cob holder. She's not mentally retarded.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, who does that?
Right.
And I hate to say this word, but it is the word, she's highly manipulative. She can read a room. I'm like, she may not can read text. She may not can read and write, but she can read a room. And she can read you that fast.
Yeah.
That's not mentally retarded.
Right.
No.
And I've said for years, I'm like, I could drop Maggie Shea off in Iraq or Iran, and she make it out just fine. Just fine. With bodies maybe behind her.
Yeah.
So that's not somebody that's mentally retarded.
No doubt.
You have to be savvy to do that. So while your traditional education, no, she may not be able to read and write, but she can work a room. That takes some brains, because as a parent, I've had to keep up with this child always. I've tried every medication. God knows what that's done to her little brain. Because have you ever been on any of those SSRIs or any of that? It takes 6 weeks. You don't know what the side effects are going to be. And they change them like we change a shirt. Oh, that's how we're going. Okay, we'll take her off that.
They're just throwing stuff on the wall.
Yeah, they're just throwing stuff. They're just guessing. And the good doctors will say, we're taking an educated guess, and it's trial and error. The other ones act like they know all, and that's final.
Yeah.
I've gone to bat. So she'd been in special education because they didn't know how to figure her out, and they just kind of written her off as that she's mentally retarded and she's low IQ, and there you go.
Right.
And I had phenomenal teachers, but even in Texas, the special education system, you've got in one room, you've got children that have autism. Well, there's levels and hierarchy of autism. You've got kids that have Down syndrome. There's a level, there's a hierarchy, there's a, so you've got all these children with all these special needs, and they're thrown into one room. Now, how can I teach Maggie Shea when I got Autism A over here banging his head up against the wall or screaming or throwing a chair?
Yeah, that doesn't it's not efficient right there.
No, it's not efficient. It doesn't make any sense.
They're really not. I mean, whatever they're charging, I'm sure is crazy.
In special education, that's federally funded.
Okay.
But that's what I was talking about. 1976 was the, I think it's 76 or 77. I'd have to look that up. But that's when they came out with the Federal Disability Act.
Okay.
So there is money that is put into that, but they treat those children, that's federally funded in every public school system, and they treat those children like it's redheaded stepchildren.
Yeah.
They don't lay out all your, what you can do, what your options are. They don't lay out any of that. So it is like, as we say in Texas, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. I have searched, and I cannot tell you the life I have lost looking, searching, going down dead-end avenues, because they don't lay it out and go, oh, okay, this is what you need to do. These are your rights. This is what you can choose from. No, they just kind of stand there. And as someone told me, they're very, they're not forthcoming, just like anything federal.